Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to walk through our newest release of Kanban. We do still have a few people just trickling in, so this is just the 30-second to 1-minute warning before we get started. So everyone, stay tuned. Looking forward to talking to you soon. All right, everyone, let's get started. Hi, we have a lot of people joining us today. I'm so excited. So thank you so much for joining our webinar today. I'm sure everyone is aware of our newest release that we did last week for the newest Kanban within Function Point. This is something that we've been working on for a really long time, so I know I am really excited. So let's get started. So we have, obviously, I'm Sophia Wilson. Hi, everybody. If you've participated in our webinars at all over the last few years, you know me. And then my right hand, co-hosting with me today is Jimmy Wu, Director of Sales. Again, I'm sure all of you have chatted with him at some point as well. I should also let you know we do have one other member of the team because we sort of expected it to be busy today. Also answering questions. I'm so sorry I didn't have a chance to put her photo up here, but we have Nicole Del Negro, who is a part of our success team. Nicole joined us right sort of at the start of COVID, and so this is her first webinar, and she'll be answering some questions in the background as well. So like I always forget to say, guys, if you have any questions as we go through today, put it into that questions box in the GoToWebinar panel, and we'll be having Jimmy and Nicole answering those as we go through today. Let's talk about our agenda. So we're going to talk about, obviously, high level, what is Kanban? Why Kanban? Why did we choose to actually have this as a very large initiative for us this year and add it into the system? We're going to talk about how this is going to affect your agency directly by having access to a tool and module like this within your function point, and then how this is going to affect your day-to-day use within function point as well. And then we're going to do a quick walkthrough of how to access it, and as well, of course, a quick little demo of it today too. So most of you, when you probably logged in last week, had a little in-system walkthrough available to you so that you could do it. But if for some reason you didn't go through it, or you had questions as you were going through, again, put those questions as we're walking through, because these are really great opportunities for us to sort of learn how people are getting used to it within the system, and how we can also help everyone getting used to it too. So to get started, what is Kanban? So I put a visual up here for you today with it. So Kanban, this actually dates way back to an old Japanese style of organization within actually an automotive factory. But it is a visual display of all of your tasks with different lanes on where those tasks are sitting within it. So I know that I myself personally, I'm a very visual person, and so this has been really handy in being able to see all of your tasks, where they're actually sitting, say based off of due date or based off of task status within Function Point. And it's just again, just a really sought after tool for project managers as well as end users to be able to organize all of their tasks accordingly. You know what? Before we keep going, I just realized, Jimmy, I forgot to check in. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you totally fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. I was too
Loud and
excited
clear.
to get started in this that I forgot to even check in with you. I'm so sorry.
No, that's totally fine. Just a couple quick housekeeping to let everyone know we are recording this, so and we will send the recording as well as the slide deck with some support articles at the end of the webinar. And also, if you have any questions, it is on your GoToWebinar control panel.
Again, thank you, Jimmy. You always keep me on track with those housekeeping items. I really appreciate you. All right, great. So yes, Kanban, a great visual option on organization of your tasks. And this has been used by other tools in the past that are more project focused, but we are really excited to have this as we are continuing to develop the project management side of Function Point, which again comes into our why. So as you know, over the last couple of years, for those of you that have been with Function Point for a little while, probably our biggest request has been more on that PM side. So as a lot of you know, we have done a lot of development in regards to our work planning view, schedules in general, but we actually got to a point where we started interviewing more of the actual creatives within your agencies. And this was actually the biggest request coming from more that side of things, is a Kanban, something that they could visually use to be able to manage their tasks, that also checked off a number of items that were of high priority to them as they were, working through their tasks, so that they could understand which ones were the most important, and prioritize more efficiently that way. So this has been one of our top requests from customers. Again, everyone knows that we've been focusing on the work planning view and now Kanban, because of a lot of these new work from home initiatives that have happened this year due to the many changing things in the world. Yeah, when you're forced to be fully working from home, these have been huge things that we have found have been asked for and been effective to making everyone's work from home lives a lot easier. And honestly, we pride ourselves in being an all-in-one system, and I think this really does finally give us like a really well-rounded way of being an all-in-one system for more than just like higher ups within agencies. It's actually making us, I personally feel, more effective for every role and individual within agencies. So that is why I am most excited about it, and why I was a huge advocate for when we made the decision to move forward with this. So moving into how this is going to affect your agency. So again, a lot of you maybe over the last few years have been feeling like you're using other tools outside of Function Point. So this is going to help you consolidate a lot of your PM tools into a single system. You've maybe been using Function Point really heavily for all of your finances, the QuickBooks integration over the last few years, but you've been using something else on the side when it comes to all your schedules and tasks. I really think this is going to allow you to bring your schedules, tasks, organization, resourcing into your Function Point system now. And again, with everything that's been happening in the world, it's been huge bringing everyone working from home, and of course, allowing you to have that one system and potentially even cut costs by not needing to have multiple systems anymore. It's really important to be able to do it all from one. So again, now everyone will have the ability to, again, monitor, see tasks, effectively manage them, and then still also have all of your finances as a part of the system as well. And again, another way is this going to allow you to collaborate on tasks effectively in one screen. So when we dive into the demo, we're going to see how easy it is, again, for you to be able to go in, edit your tasks directly on this single screen. It makes it pretty easy to not need to work throughout the entire system and having to navigate a bunch. So yeah, it definitely, I think, will make things quite a bit more efficient for you working directly in FP itself. Okay, so day-to-day use. So we wanted to actually break this out based off of the different roles within agencies. So the two, obviously, that are going to be the most effective by the Kanban being released is obviously just direct team members, those creatives within your agencies that are really just trying to manage their tasks and make sure that they're hitting all of their deadlines. And then, of course, the project managers and anyone within ops. Team members, again, the top items that it's really going to affect for day-to-day use is it is visually appealing. It's on a single page. You're able to time track directly from it, you can file share directly from it, and of course collaboration and commenting, which is huge. And then from the PM side, again, very similar, but it's more about the collaboration, being able to progress track your team, and then of course you can time track yourself, and then many filtering options too. So depending on what you need to see, you can actually navigate between multiple views. And don't worry, we will also show that in the demo as well. So something I kind of wanted to show everyone is actually a little bit of a product roadmap. So we haven't really we've obviously had an internal product roadmap for years on what we have sort of been talking about, but we wanted to actually show you where we've sort of been. So again, for those of you that have been with us for a couple of years, or you're maybe new, what we've released over this last year, especially again through COVID and some of those challenges. Work planning view, we made some major enhancements to that throughout COVID that we thought were really important, again, to help with that sort of collaboration and working from home and being more efficient in your project management. And then of course, most recently, the Kanban board view. But talking a little bit about what we have coming for 2021, is BIR enhancements. So obviously everyone's aware of our BI reporting tool that we have within FP with some of those premium features as well. We're going to be continuing to work on enhancing that so that we can, again, continue to make it more effective, more useful. You know, after our release, we received a lot of really great feedback. And so we've just done a large prioritization of all of that, and looking forward to releasing a lot of those. The next thing we actually have coming up is we are going to be integrating with a proofing tool. So we have an agreement with a great proofing tool called Assure, and we will be doing a direct proofing integration connection with that as well, which we are super excited about. So that we are hoping to have out for May, but of course, everyone, please be aware, technical things sometimes pop up, and of course, they may be subject to change a little bit. And then of course, an FP API, we've always had lots of feedback from people wanting items like that again in the future to make things more ease of use. So looking forward to that. Now, Jimmy, I see you messaging me off to the side. Is there anything that you'd like to add in when it comes to the product roadmap for 2021?
No, I don't believe so. I was just gonna, I think we had a couple questions around the API, and I was just gonna add that the API is gonna be a REST or open API, I believe, but we'll talk to our product manager a little bit more in detail as we come closer to that date.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. I know that it's something that has been asked for a very long time, and so it's exciting to have that, you know, actually on the roadmap as a potential release. I know, Jimmy, you and I have been talking about it for a long time. Okay, great. And then something I really actually wanted to throw in here as well is with the release of Kanban, we have started realizing quite a few agencies that maybe aren't fully utilizing the system to its fullest potential, including, again, a lot on the sort of scheduling management, work planning view, project management items. So I really just want to let you know we have options available for custom training. So if you or your team are interested at all in you know, doing a full refresh package, we are really excited about, you know, talking with you about that. It does come at a cost. However, we are also really interested in, you know, getting some people up and running in some different areas of the system. A lot of this can come with a full audit of your system. We'll build out a custom agenda for your agency based off of what you're wanting to make sure that you are fully utilizing within Function Point. You know, this always does include like a quick consultation ahead of time so we can understand where your main goals are. And then of course, it will include just like a process, workflow review. This is where I usually slot in a bit of an audit of your system so that we can also provide you a little bit of feedback on what we think maybe you're underutilizing in there. And then it does follow up with some technical training sessions for multiple members of your team so that you can all support each other while you are beginning to utilize more function point. And, you know, again, this is a huge thing that we've been doing a lot of this year, again, with people moving to working from home and wanting to make sure that they're fully utilizing their single system. So yes, it's please reach out to success@functionpoint.com for any of these sort of requests that you may have so that we can work with you on them. All right, great. So just our final slide today. So of course you have Jimmy and Nicole answering questions in the back end today as we are going through the system itself. But if you have any questions that you're thinking of, email success@functionpoint.com and we are happy to help you out at any point. All right, great. Now, before I jump in, Jimmy, just checking in, any questions?
No, I think people are just ready to take a look at the system.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, everyone. I try to always not talk so much, but again, too many exciting things. So Jimmy, just making sure, can you see my system right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So let's start by how we actually get to the Kanban board. So obviously when you log into Function Point, you'll always land on your dashboard when you first log in. Now, how you get to the Kanban is actually through tasks and task to-dos. So a lot of you that have been working within these sorts of modules within the system know that tasks and to-dos does take you to a list view. So a lot of you right now are probably like, what the heck, Sophie? Like, we know this view. I don't want to use that. I want Kanban. So how you do that is actually up here to the new display section. And within here, you'll be able to choose between list and board. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the board and it's going to take us immediately to the Kanban view. Now, what we have in here is just dropping us immediately on our Kanban that has actually every single task available here. Now, something I am going to point out just right away is how we can make sure that every time you click on tasks and to do so that it immediately lands on the Kanban board rather than that list view. If you would prefer this to be your default, it's actually to come up here to settings. And you're going to see this views settings, and this is going to allow you to set your default view. So these are the different views that we have available through this task listing. We've got list view, which you're all aware of, editable list view, so it allows you to edit. And then these two are the ones that you're going to want to concentrate on. And I'm going to show both of these different visualizations for you in a moment, but this again is where you can set that default view. So for myself, I know that I'm always going to want to log in here and land on the task statuses. So this will now make sure that anytime I actually come here and click on tasks and to-dos, it is going to immediately land on the Kanban board for me. Great. Awesome. Now, as we again go through these different visualizations, I'm going to tackle each of these different cards for you in just a moment, but just based off of, again, those settings, we've got the different sort by options here, which is going into either the task status or that due date. So depending on how you like to prioritize your tasks on whether or not they are in the status form, which again, all of you that have used our scheduling and tasking know that our task statuses is one of the few items in the system that you actually cannot edit through the list maintenance because of the fact that it has direct functionality in the system. So we've got our draft, assigned, in progress, completed, confirmed, and canceled. But if based off of your workflow, you actually prefer to see due date, we can sort by that as well. So this is going to organize it in items that maybe do not have any dates by them. If they're already overdue, if they're due today, due this week, next week, or more than 2 weeks out for yourself. So really it is dependent on what your personal preference is, but these are the two ways that you can sort the different lanes within your Kanban. Now I'm going to go back to task status because personally I just prefer that one myself. So while we are sitting in this task status with lanes and our Kanban. This is where we're now thinking, okay, great. So this is awesome, but these are a lot of tasks. I want to be able to filter down to specific items. You know, either myself, if you're a project manager, you're probably wanting to sort by just your team. Or if you are maybe an account manager who is working for a specific client, you're wanting to just make sure that you are managing all the tasks in there. So we're going to actually open up our filter option here. And these are all the different filtering options that we have. You can filter by company, project, job, job status, role, assignee, or assigned by. So depending on how you work within your agency. So for myself, I know I could come in at any point and actually filter by me. Or actually, no, why don't we filter by Jimmy today? And I could click on him, click out, and then that will auto-populate for me all of Jimmy's tasks. Now, within here, if say monitoring someone like Jimmy is really important to you as a project manager, you actually have the ability to save specific filters for yourself. And you're gonna notice that in this drop down up here. Now, I've already saved a few specific filters for myself already, but if again, we know Jimmy is someone that is, you know, causing lots of trouble as he does, and I'm wanting to make sure I specifically manage him. You can come in here and we can actually save as. So this is going to allow you to give it that filter name. So Jimmy's tasks. You can share that filter if you want, but right now this one I actually just want to keep private because I'm just working on monitoring him at the moment, and I can go ahead and save. So this is now going to save that filter up here for us so that I can, again, continue to take a look at Jimmy's task specifically. Now, again, we have all of the different tasks still also saved underneath this item here so that I can actually jump between these at any point too. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on my task so that I can come in here, and these are going to be mine right off the bat so that we can take a look at those tasks specifically. Now, let's get into the board itself, but before I do, Jimmy, any specific questions or anything you want to make sure that I show on screen from some of those questions on that filtering? Don't worry, we're going to go into the cards themselves and what we have going on there, but just in regards to any questions you maybe had.
Yeah, perhaps can you show real quick how they access the Kanban? We went through that pretty quickly, so just so everyone knows where to access it.
Yeah, sorry everybody. So if you come up to tasks and tasks and to-dos and go ahead and click on that, that will take you to the tasks and to-dos list. Now, because I have already set my default to being on the board, I will just navigate back to the list. And what you're going to see again, everyone, is this display option up here, and you're going to have the option from up here to be the list or the board, and the board is what will navigate you back to Kanban. Thanks for checking me there, Jimmy. I do tend to talk fast, so I apologize for that.
No, that you don't need to. Great, thank you. I guess one specific filtering I think that's really cool about our Kanban that our in-house marketing team utilizes is to look at it on a project or even a client level, because with the filtering, that's something a little different, is you can look at very quickly a client's task in the board view as well across all projects instead of just one project at a time. And I really like looking at that on a due date perspective, because then you can quickly tell them, okay, what's due this week versus next week for a specific client. So I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And honestly, everyone, that kind of leads me to one of the boards I do have filtered here, which is Great Atlantic Insurance tasks. I did condense it, but exactly like Jimmy was saying, at any point, if you have a specific client that maybe is a large portion of your revenue and you want to make sure you're staying on top of the multiple projects that they have going on at any time, you can create that specific filter for yourself. Again, by that company or by project or job, so that you can have that view here. And again, if you wanted to navigate between statuses or dates, totally available to you as well.
Cool, awesome.
Great, awesome.
Okay,
I'm gonna navigate back. Okay, thank you, Jimmy. I'm going to navigate back to my tasks only because I've made sure that I have a couple of tasks in there for us to be able to touch on all the different functions that are actually available to you in the visualizations of the different cards that we have here. So if we jump into my tasks, I'm going to look at what I have currently in progress, and I have this wireframing task. And there's a lot of pieces of information on this card for us. So first of all, I do want to let you know that this is all completely editable. So if I were to grab this task, this is movable within the different statuses, and that will automatically update those statuses for you. So again, anyone that has ever had a task sitting on their dashboard and having to change between those statuses, you can now do that by navigating between these different lanes as well. It will automatically update for you throughout the rest of the system. As we're continuing to look at this wireframing task, we also have a few images on here. So to start, we know that there is one comment. This little comment box is going to let us know how many comments we have against that task. We also have dependencies. So if you are utilizing the dependencies feature within our schedules, you will also see that there is something dependent attached to this task. So once it has been completed, it will actually auto trigger that next task to go into an assigned status, which is great. And then of course, any files. So you've always been able to attach files against your different tasks within Function Point, but this is going to show you that you have tasks attached to that. And this is all coming back to that collaboration piece that you have within Function Point. So against specific tasks, maybe you're passing them back and forth between people, you will be able to now see any additional files that are attached to it, as well as maybe any comments for that, again, communication back and forth on that little bit there. You're also able to see, of course, the due date. So we do know that this is now overdue since it was due on November 14th, and we are officially in December, still blowing my mind that we're there, and the specific time that it was due at. But you're also going to notice these little images here so that you can actually see what those priorities are. So this task was of a high priority. We have another one that is of a low priority, and then one that is of a neutral priority. So you'll be able to see the different coloring as well as prioritization in there. Now, if we click in, this is going to pop up the next module. So when we click into this, this is now, again, getting more into that detail. Obviously, we couldn't show all of this information directly on that tiny little card. So we did provide, again, this pop-out option. So if you need to make any edits, you can actually come in, edit that task through the pencil as you're familiar, being our little edit icon throughout the rest of the system, and you can edit as needed throughout here. So we know that this was due on November 14th. Maybe I know that I'm changing it to today because I didn't get it done for then and I was able to get an extension. You'll be able to see how many hours have actually been tracked against it. And again, all those little bits and pieces, I'm not going to dive into what each and every single one of these fields mean because we do have another webinar that does touch on schedules and tasks and how to create those, and that goes into a lot of detail there. But where it's cool is, again, this collaboration piece. Within this module, you are able to see those attachments. So I did, again, just attach that product roadmap that we were already touching on in our slides earlier so that you can pop that out and, of course, make any comments as necessary too. So like I've already said down here, like this looks great, but please change the color to blue so then we can actually move forward with the remainder of this task. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now, through this task, again, you could trash it. You can also go to the basic info page, but that's not really where you're going to want to be making a lot of your changes. Now, something I'm going to do is I'm going to just move this task back to in progress because, as a lot of you know, when you change a task to completed, that is telling the system that it is done and you're probably no longer going to track time against it. But what I do want to make sure that we touch on today is being able to time track against every single task. And again, as those of you that have been time tracking within the system, you're going to recognize this little icon up here directly on your tile. So you can actually click on that at any point. It will allow you to track your time directly against this task in this view. So I know I've put in 5 hours today, and I'm going to go ahead. again, everyone knows me. I'm a huge advocate for descriptions. If you can get your staff to put in descriptions for any of your timesheets, it is a great way of allowing you to know what was maybe specifically worked on. It's like, so completed the wireframing for website. And of course, anytime that I'm on a webinar, I can no longer spell. So we're gonna go ahead and click submit. And that time will now be living directly against this task. And you'll see those actual hours start to grow there for you. You'll also see that this time tracking option is directly here on this module as well. If you wanted to click that up, it will produce the same little module for you. But I personally really like being able to do it just directly from this tile so that it's, I don't know, I just like it better. That's really all there is to it. It's one click instead of two, which I think is really the most important. Now, something that you're going to notice that we didn't actually have on that giant module is in regards to those dependencies. So I just wanted to show you a little trick that we also have now, which is being able to click directly on that dependency as well, so that you can now see what that dependency workflow is starting to look like against those tasks for yourself as well. So another just sort of little fun trick that it was actually Jimmy that showed me that very recently. I hadn't realized that it had been released. So it was a really great sort of little fun thing that was released along with the Kanban. Okay, great. Before I keep going into actually adding tasks through this view, Jimmy, any questions we want to make sure I touch on screen?
Yeah, so there are a couple questions. If you can show visually how to link, how to attach a link, like a HTTP.
How to attach a link? Yeah,
HTML link.
definitely. How to attach a link? Okay, so you actually mean like a website link and not just,
Yes.
Okay.
Not a file, sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
let me make sure I actually have a website link up right now so that we will just use function point. Okay, so what we'll do is we will come into edit of the tasks. And then we actually have oh my goodness, Jimmy, why am I forgetting the more advanced wording for the rich text? Sorry, everybody. We have the rich text option down here. So if you needed to, you can come down into that comment section. You can click the link and you can actually add in that hyperlink to yourself there, and we can click A-OK for that and add it directly into the rich text option here within your comment section. If you also need to, I believe we should be able to, oh my goodness, my typing, I'm so sorry, everybody. We should be able to highlight this, click on the link. We can also add in that website, and it will actually hyperlink directly to specific words in here as well. So again, this rich text option is available to you on this screen when it comes to all of your task description pages as well. Jimmy, I can hear you typing away over there. Any specific questions again for us or anything you want to add in regards to this?
No, I think that was really good. So the other question that people would like to see was what I mentioned around viewing company client deadlines on a due date view instead of the status view. Just wondering if you can maybe change to the GAI view you had earlier and then change it to a due date instead.
Yeah, definitely. So if we go again to Great Atlantic Insurance, so that example where we're talking about working with a specific company, project, or job, adding in that status. And then, of course, you have the different sorting by options here. So the task status, which it is currently on, or by due date. So that you can, again, actually talk about, all right, these 4 tasks, maybe you're in a status meeting of some sort with your staff and you're wanting to make sure that, again, these items for Great Atlantic Insurance are completed this week. So you can make sure that these are brought up immediately. You can see that these are time trackable, so they're currently in progress, but you can also see that this one task is still in a draft status, which isn't going to work because obviously your staff need to know that it is ready to be worked on. And you can tell those sorts of things by the colors here. Anything in the gray is considered in a draft status. Anything currently in progress or under budget is in the green. Jimmy, anything you'd like to elaborate on? Because again, I know you prefer this view where I prefer the task status view.
Yeah, it really is personal preference at the end of the day, but I really like this view. I think this one, you know what, it is personal preference. I've had people who love this one and people who love the other one. So yeah, personal preference. I think perhaps can we talk a little bit about why some cards have the time tracking icons and some do not on this view?
Yeah, definitely. Again, for anyone that has been actively using schedules and tasks throughout your time with Function Point, the reason that those task statuses can't be changed is because there is such direct functionality within Function Point connected to them. So anything that is in a and this is why I prefer to be on the task status, because of course this is where my brain is going, is around that time tracking. Anything that is in draft or assigned, you actually can't track time to it, as well as anything that's completed or confirmed. It has to be in a status of in progress to be able to track time against your tasks. So again, this is why that time tracking visual there is only available on the in progress ones, because those are the only ones you can track time to. So as you navigate between the different views, that is also going to allow you to see the ones that are already in progress, because again, the ones due this week, the ones that don't have that on there, it's just that status that needs to be updated to tell the system that, you know, I am working on it, and it is something that that I need to tell the system I'm working on so that I can track time. Okay, Jimmy, anything you'd like to add at all?
No, that was good. Thanks.
Okay,
Very
great.
clear.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, guys, those statuses are really important. So, you know, if you have any questions about them, don't hesitate to either put it into Jimmy and Nicole right now, or just email our success team at success@functionpoint.com, and we're happy to answer any of your questions. Okay, now before we tackle any more questions on screen, there's one more thing that I really wanted to make sure that we touched on today, and that's actually being able to add tasks directly in this view. So again, I'm sure throughout all Function Point, you've always seen like that little just plus task button, plus new task button available, whether it's on your dashboard or even directly on the schedules view. But now it is also available here as well for you to be able to add tasks. So if you go ahead and click that add task, again, I'm not going to go through every single item in here. We have lots of content that can go through this, but we would be able to give the task a name. So Kanban example. We could add it to a schedule that is already currently active. This is not a required field though. The beauty of adding in tasks is you can actually add in quick tasks that are not attached to a schedule or a job or a service, which is completely fine. However, if you do not assign it to a job and a service, you won't actually, well, if you don't assign it to a job, you won't be able to track time. We always highly recommend attaching them to services as well, though, so that that time does not get tracked against the incorrect service on a job. So do make sure that you are tracking those items. I am a huge advocate for that. So I will put in the corporate website, and I will make sure that I'm going to put it against coordination. Giving those start and due dates. Again, these aren't required fields. You don't have to put them in. I have lots of agencies where, you know, your creatives maybe even just put in tasks for themselves to remind themselves to get coffee for the team or something. So those don't really require start or due dates. However, if you are a project manager and you want to make sure that that shows up on your work planning view, you do have to put in a start and due date so that the system knows where to put that on the work planning view for your resourcing purposes. So again, depending on what you actually need this task for, I always recommend filling in every single piece that you can, depending on how useful you want that task to actually be. Now, the one thing that is actually really cool on this create new task piece is the ability to jump between any of your basic timeline tasks and your shared tasks. So right now we are on, and Jimmy and I were talking about this earlier, how we have these internal tasks, prospecting tasks, and timeline tasks. Ultimately, these three have the same functionality within function point. It's just ways of being able to define based off of maybe what your prospecting or internal processes are. So this may even look a little bit different in each of your systems, but ultimately the timeline task is the basic way of defining a single task within the system. It is assigned to a single individual that, of course, once they complete, they could pass to somebody else, but as that task is assigned, it will only be to one person, which you are able to actually see by seeing the assigned to and assigned by options down here at the bottom. But when we change it to a shared task, which by definition will then change that task into ultimately the ability to assign it to multiple individuals, we're going to go ahead and click that. This is where you're going to see quite a bit of a difference here. So instead of only be able to choose one person, you're going to now see that I am choosing multiple people to assign this task to directly from this page, so that we can again, use that share task. Now, something I do always really like to say is that once I have created this task, you will not be able to jump back into it and change it to a timeline task. So just make sure that you are assigning the right type of task initially when you are creating some of these tasks from this view, because you can't change them later. You will have to delete them and recreate them. Okay, great. Well, I know I have been talking fast and furiously. This has been a lot of information thrown at everyone. I really wanted to leave this as kind of like an FAQ sort of time at the end here. So Jimmy, what kind of questions do we have coming in right now? Anything that we should be tackling on screen? Or anything you feel like I've missed?
No, I think I think we went through the bulk of it. Yeah, I can't think of anything. I think perhaps maybe do a quick review of the filter or where you can select multiple specific, where we can multi-select, because I think we only do a single select thus far.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry about
And
that,
also
everyone.
how to save the filters as well. I think we have a number of questions around that.
Oh yeah, I definitely showed that earlier, but I'll make sure that I do another quick version of it this time. So if we are wanting to make sure that we are using multiple filters, I'm actually going to clear all the filters so that this is just completely open up again. And again, what you're going to notice is that saved filters. It used to actually have my tasks there, but it now says save filters so that you can come in and maybe choose one of the different ones as well. But if you wanted to assign multiple filters on here, we can come in and we can choose the different companies. So again, maybe I will use maybe American Express. I'm trying to remember if I have any tasks under there right now. So we've got a few tasks underneath here. Actually, there aren't enough tasks. I'm going to continue using Great Atlantic Insurance just because I know how many tasks are in there, and just for visualization purposes, I want to make sure that we have lots. But this is then where we can now start to filter by the specific jobs. So within here, I know corporate website is actually a big one, and I'm working directly on this one as well. So anything for Great Atlantic Insurance, for that corporate website that I know that we're working on for them, we can now actually filter down by multiples. So at this point, I actually know lots of tasks are completed. I, as the project manager, want to come in here and maybe do a quick review of all of these to make sure they've been completed correctly before actually confirming them. So that is a workflow that is available to you as well within the system. Between that completed and confirmed, that's a pretty common question I get. And it's really just for managers to be able to review work and then confirm them just for their own checks and balances when it comes to that. But of course, even at this point, if you wanted to continue sorting by different assignees within here, maybe I'll make sure I do it for, who do we have against this task? Who's this assigned to? It's assigned to Jenny. So I know that for, Jenny is working pretty hard on some of these. I can actually filter by her specifically, and then it will, well, that didn't work how I expected it to. Let's take maybe I read that wrong. Okay, we're gonna assign, oh, it's because I looked at her by assigned by and not assigned to. So if we look at Miro, because this is definitely who this corporate website item is assigned to, I'm gonna do it by Miro. Just click out of that and save. And so again, we have 3 filters going right now based off of Great Atlantic Insurance, the corporate website, and Miro. So I'm actually able to see his tasks specific to those. So again, there's lots of filtering options here, and it will take all of them into account on this view. So just yeah, there's lots available, and you'll be able to see how many you actually have. And if, say, again, this one is an important view for you at this stage, and you want to save this within, so that in that drop down, you don't have to go through all the filtering options every single time again, you can click that Save As, give it a name. So Great Atlantic Insurance Miro website. You'll be able to see, again, that company, job, and assignee, how many of the filters you have saved. You can go ahead and save that. And in that drop down now, you'll be able to see, again, the large number of saved filters I'm starting to have. So maybe once this corporate website is also done, you can come in here and actually cancel this, and it won't show up in that drop down for you. So don't worry, you're not married to any of these filtering options as well. Okay, Jimmy, anything you'd like to add or more questions?
Yeah, I think one of the common questions, so that I'd like to point out around the Kanban, that's a little different than maybe like a Trello or such, is the the column, the lanes that we have right now. A lot of times people might ask, hey, can we customize the column headers? And the answer to that is no. Unfortunately, you cannot, inside function point, adjust the column organization. It is defaulted as a lot of you know, the task is linked to many other parts of function point system, and it's going to organize the workflow process for you so that there is standardized across all jobs. And because we are able to see multiple jobs or multiple clients across tasks, across multiple people, as a result, you must, from a systems perspective, we must organize the swim lanes so that there is commonality between all of those jobs, clients or assignees, etc. So I wanted to make that clear, as that's a common question that comes up.
Awesome. Yeah, great comment there, Jimmy. It's yeah, I get asked that question all the time too, just for why can't I update the task statuses, and that is also still all connected to that as well.
Cool.
Okay.
Is it possible to go through permissions, to what permissions users need in order to access Kanban? Okay.
That was a really great question, Jimmy. There's a lot of, wow, you know what? I'm gonna say right now, I did not prepare for that question. So I'm actually drawing a blank right now. Do we have a specific permission that is needed for this?
Yes, I believe so. So I think well, actually, no, I know the permission that is needed is under the task, so the task add. So if any of your users do not get to have access to Kanban, the first permission setting under your task module, which is going to be required for them to access Kanban. So if you don't see it, that's probably the first place you would want to check.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And if you still can't access it afterwards, then do reach out and let us know.
Yes. Thank you, Jimmy. Of course, that seems like a very easy answer. So for anyone that was just looking through, sorry, I did that very quickly as Jimmy was walking through it. I did a way that I prefer managing permissions, which is through the permission set. So you can actually build out permission sets and assign it to multiple individuals. But of course, you can access also permissions directly through the individual themselves, through the staff rates and permissions. So yeah, just making sure when you come in and you're looking at this, it will be that task add as an important one to make sure that you can fully utilize the schedules module in general. Okay. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left. I know we do try and keep these under an hour. Jimmy, Nicole, any other last minute questions that we should tackle on screen? Otherwise, I will wrap up for the day. Okay. Oh, I can hear you clicking again there, Jimmy.
Oh, I think just a couple quick, I think there are still questions trickling in. So I was just thinking perhaps we just go through them instead of me typing it out all the time, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to do it.
Yeah, so there was a question of what the colored bars on the left-hand side of the card represent.
Well, why don't we navigate over there? Jimmy, I'm getting a little bit mouth dry. Why don't I let you define those ones?
Oh, okay. I'm glad I had like literally a liter of water beside me right now. Okay, so the color bars on the left of the card can be green, orange, red, or black. Like Sophia mentioned before, if it is black, that means it is still currently in a draft status. Okay. If it is green, if it is green, that means they've started work. It's been assigned. Sorry, let me step it back a little bit. If it is black, it means that there has not been any estimated hours assigned to that task. Okay, so on a task and function point, you can allocate an estimated hours of how long you want that person to complete it by. So if it's black, there's no assigned hours. If it is green, that means they have not spent more than 75% of the assigned hours or the estimated hours on that task. If it is orange, that means they've used between 75 to either 99 or 100% of the budget used. And if it is red, that means they have now gone over the estimated budget of the task. So I hope that helps.
I just realized I don't have an orange one on this view. There we go. So I can make sure everyone can see it. All the different color options. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jimmy. I know there was some debate when we were first building this on if this should be, again, based off of sort of the due date or the hours. So I'm glad we went based off the hours so you guys can understand sort of where things are getting close to being done or over budget. Okay, great. Jimmy, any more questions?
Yeah, I think one of the questions I had when I first started using this was the arrow button, so priority. So in the screen here, under wireframing, you're going to see an arrow button that goes that's red for up. So that is the priority of that task. So you can see red arrow mark up means it's high priority, and then if it's in kind of like an equal sign in perpendicular, it is actually a normal priority, and then a low priority is just a down arrow, blue down arrow button. Yeah.
And of course, the harsher the color, probably the higher the priority as well, right? So obviously that nice gentle green is low priority, that blue is neutral, and then red is what we always like to throw at you when you need to be aware of something. Something you also notice is anything overdue based off the due date does highlight the date in red.
Okay.
Like it would on your dashboard.
So Sophia, I know a lot of people love the drag and drop. Maybe we can just show that a couple more times, just for the fun of it.
For sure. Look, I can grab that and I can move it to completed. We've got the draft statuses that I want to move to assigned or actually change to in progress so that you can see that time item is updated, because again, remember, it does need to be in an in progress status to be able to track time against it. So we can move multiple into that. And then of course, as you continue to finish these tasks, you can mark them into completed as needed as well. Drag that all the way over. You can really drag it. Okay, this one from draft, we're actually going to cancel that we're not working on that printing one anymore. Oh, please select an assignee first.
I think you're having too much fun there now, Sophia.
Yeah, sorry. I'll stop.
All right. Perhaps I don't believe we went into editing of a task, an existing task. So could we maybe click into one of the cards and see how we can make some changes on that task, like the due dates, priority, and such?
Yeah, definitely. So again, that little edit icon that you should be used to in here, if you needed to change anything for any of these tasks, you can come in and actually say maybe the service is what we need to change from coordination into design for a different a different service group. You can come in. We are also updating maybe to 12 hours. And this is now, well, it's already a high priority, so we're going to leave it as a high priority. But if, say, you needed to change who it is assigned to, we can also do that. Again, this is a single task, or if you wanted to add in an attachment, it will allow you to either upload the file directly or even just drag and drop that file in as well. So maybe I'm just going to grab this screenshot that I have that lives on my dashboard for a little workflow that we have. And I'm going to drop that file there. Oh, doesn't look like it took for some reason. Okay, it's just loading it. It's just taking a minute to upload. And you will now see that it is living against this task for us. And then you can add in any comments as needed as well.
Awesome.
Great.
Okay, so real quick, there was, just so you know, all the tasks we have on here is a demo environment. So like the asterisks and things like you see, those are just how we name the task title. So it's just because this is a demo environment. Yeah, so wow. Please, one question about the files. So inside function point, it is unlimited file storage as long as each file does not exceed 50 megabytes. So it's 50. And
Correct.
please note that you can, yeah, we do support any file types as well. So you can upload EPS, PNG, GIFs, PDF, Word, Excel. It's up to you.
Yes, that is a very commonly asked question. So yeah, that 50 megabytes, unlimited number of files have to be at 50 megabytes or under for the file size. Okay. All right, well, we are coming to the top of the hour and I am starting to see some people drop off. So I think it's a good time for us to wrap up. We will leave the webinar going for just another minute or so that Jimmy and Nicole can answer any more questions that are kind of coming through. But again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found this helpful. There will be a follow-up email sent just again with the recording of the webinar, slides, and as well as any additional sort of content that we can give you regarding this. Something else, again, if you have any questions that come up that you weren't able to ask today and maybe tonight you're thinking about them, please email the success team at success@functionpoint.com. We're here to help with any of your questions. And again, if you're thinking that you would maybe like an audit of the system and maybe you've had some turnover on your team and you'd like to look at some training, also reach out to us about any of that. We want to make sure that you are fully utilizing the system and being successful with NFP. So you know, your partnerships are important to us and don't hesitate to reach out if you need any help along those lines too. So looking forward to hearing from lots of you. And again, we'll leave the webinar running just for another couple of minutes, but you won't need to listen to me anymore as that's happening. So yeah, everyone, happy Wednesday, and we'll talk to you all soon.